On? Okay.
Gotta get the right camera going. Go ahead and start it up.
Okay. All right. First up, we have the approval of the minutes from the last meeting.
Move approved regular minutes, February 8th, 2021 meeting.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Ditto.
8-0. Next up, we have public comment. Is anybody here for public comment? Okay. Business discussion items. First up, we have the DBE plan.
Okay, the basic description of what this plan is, it's required every single time we do a project at the airport using FAA money, that we have a plan for the contractor to use a disadvantaged business or enterprise while they're working on our airport. That's basically what this is. It's not spending any money. It's, as of yet, it's just a plan issued. We give it to the contractor, and they place their bid accordingly. So that's basically what this is. It's required by FAA to put this together. And it's a standard percentage dictated by the FAA.
They do this every time, don't they?
Every
Yeah,
project
I was reading it, yeah.
involving FAA, yes.
Yep.
How close is that 670,000 to the, is that to the engineers?
That's right. I mean,
Relatively close.
it's been between 660 and 670 approximately. So yeah, it's right there.
Okay. Move to approve DBE plan for the airport.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? 8-0. All right. Next up, we have the condemnation for 1205 Carolina. Was he planning on showing up, or?
Well, he said he was, but obviously he isn't.
Well, I'm just saying, I saw him around a couple times today up in the area, so.
We can move on and then come back if you want to get
Do we want to skip and give him a little bit more time to show up? Was Walter planning on being here tonight for this, or did he say?
Yes, he had actual notice. Yes, he had actual notice. I talked to him 2 days ago, and he said he was going to be here.
Okay.
What the resolution set up for hearing, I don't recall, did it say 7 o'clock or 7:30?
7.
7? It's your call, Your Honor. You control the tempo and the agenda.
Well, I mean, I don't have a problem with moving on to something else and seeing if he shows up, I guess. That's up, what are council's feelings on that?
That's fine.
That's fine.
We can give him a little time.
Right. Next thing up is a consent agenda.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0. Next up is the Appropriations Ordinance number 3742.
Move to approve Appropriations Ordinance 3742.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call?
There's some discussion.
Yes, Terry.
I wanted to ask one question about that. When did the council approve? We have an inspector, and also we've always, Tony Deaver's done stuff for us, engineering, but why did we wind up with that $500 and $510 deal to have somebody? Who approved that?
I don't know who you're
To Vermitten, basically I did, because one, CES doesn't have a structural engineer, and that's who they use when they do structural
time?
engineering. All the time. 100% of the time they refer us to them. And two, it was basically to determine whether that structure was safe or not that he was inspecting.
Mr. Hughes, I requested that because of the size of the building and structure. I felt it was necessary to have a structural engineer. I fully anticipated it'd be appealed on up. It may not appeal now, but I thought that would be something that the city would have to contend with, and I requested that service.
All right, I wanted to ask about that before we vote, that's all.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Kathia?
Yes.
Fry?
Yes.
Schroller?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes,
Beichman?
Yes.
Price?
Yes.
Barron's?
Yes.
Thrum?
Yes,
8-0.
Okay. That's awesome.
All right, first thing on the list is the 12th Street replacement bids, and I'm going to get back to that so I can talk about it a little bit more. So we received 3 bids to replace 12th Street right next to the high school. And we included the parking area that belongs to the high school as an addendum or an alternative to our project. And that alternative was determined on whether the school district wanted to pay for it or not. It had no effect on our project at all. So 3 bids, one from Hall Brothers, who did asphalt, Inline, who did concrete, and AHRS, who also did concrete. And I'll read through. AHRS actually came in on the lowest bid with $102,000 for the base bid, and also $37,000 for the alternative. So, I mean, both of those were not that we would have chosen any differently, but both of those were the lowest bids for the project. So at this point in time, I'd ask that you approve AHRS's bid of $102,000 to replace that portion, that 12th Street.
what
Yes,
was the engineer's estimate on this?
200 and some $1,000.
It was a lot more.
There's a lot more.
No kidding.
Yeah,
So has the school, I assume they've been presented with that alternative number?
yes, I have.
Any indication whether they were pleasantly surprised or not? Just curious.
They initially declined.
The client just out of hand?
Yes.
They're aware that it'd probably cost more later for them to
Yeah.
have that done?
Yes, and I'm not gonna speak for, he gave me a reason, but I don't wanna give any of that. I mean, he could speak for him, the superintendent can speak for himself, but out of initial, that's not saying he's going to not present it to his board and talk to them about it, and if they come out with a different idea, they can come back. Obviously, they're not coming out tomorrow to put that road in, but.
Yeah.
As, in my capacity as Ward 4 representative, I'm gonna say I'm a little disappointed if they won't consider it, since we're putting this money forward to make it safer and better.
Right.
That would tie in pretty well. Also, we'd be, to my eye, a good expenditure of possibly that taxpayer pool of money. But that's also my opinion as a taxpayer, so.
Right.
I just wanted to go on the record that I think it'd be great if the school would invest a little bit in parking, since we're investing in the streets around the school. I think it would be a good team effort, but that's that. I'm not on the school board, nor do I want to be, so there's that.
Think you got enough on your plate?
That's right, nope.
Right.
Oh, you don't?
Move to approve
Hold
12th
on.
Street replacement bids from HRS for $102,000.
Parker, what were you gonna say?
Well,
I got a couple questions.
Second,
I'll second it.
Okay, and then
Now
I'll
you
do
can
it,
go
that's fine.
ahead.
Second.
Okay.
Yes.
On inlines, they talk about doing possibly small portions of curb needing replaced.
And
Hall
they,
Brothers talks about doing that at $40 a linear foot. And it's an exclusion on AHRS.
there was, when we looked at it, and the only reason I put possible small amount was the fact that the curb was in good condition. When I created this, it was before the winter, and I wanted the idea to be out there, in their mind frame that, hey, there might be a little bit of curb and gutter, but there wasn't that much. And
And
I don't
that's-
think it's gonna be a $30,000 That'd be a lot of curb and gutter.
And that's fine, but what I'm getting at is that one of them's including some curb and gutter.
Uh-huh.
One of them gave you a price tag. I don't wanna come here a couple weeks later on and get another price tag for some concrete.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
And the basically, if we do have to replace any of that, they will give me a linear foot per. I mean, they're upfront that they're not including this in their price, but like I said, it's not gonna make up the $20,000, $28,000
And
difference.
that's fine. I'm not trying to make up the difference. I'm
Right.
just,
It should be just a little bit right there on the corner,
Right,
where that
and,
low spot is.
Otherwise, it's in better shape
Other
than
than
a
that,
lot
it's
of
in
curb
good
and
shape.
gutter around
yes,
town.
yeah,
There's probably 20 feet right there in that corner on the inside.
yeah. And
It
it's,
just needs to be raised.
yeah, it was just, when we first made it out, it was just like, okay, there's maybe a chance, and we didn't know what kind of winter we were gonna have. So I wanted that in the mind frame, but
and that's fine.
yeah, they really wanted this job. Let's just.
Oh,
put it
yeah,
that way.
I think it's great. I think
Yeah.
we got some companies fighting over it, and I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
great. I just don't wanna surprise Bill later on.
Fine, yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Be done by the time school starts, correct?
That is the end date, yes.
Okay, do we have an actual end date?
I
'Cause
put
that's
in there
something else I'm gonna-
I'd see, August 15th or something, like, I went out and looked at the school schedule and put that in
Right. Is there a punishment if it's not done?
It wasn't written in, no, but this is, if they wanna know, I mean, I didn't have a monetary, contract, no.
I just think where it sits at, this has to be done.
Yes.
Yeah.
I completely agree.
That's not like a negotiation tactic. It's not like start August 14th and think you're gonna get done August 15th.
No, no, and that, I did put the date that I wanted it done,
Okay.
in the, bid request.
They agreed to your completion date.
Yes. They don't wanna be, and to be honest, they don't wanna be there when school starts either.
No.
That's fair.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? 8-0.
All right, next on the list is the Sixth Street Mill and Overlay. This is the remainder of the project. We did mill and overlay, of the first 2.5 blocks of Sixth Street from the highway to Walnut, and now this is Walnut to Jackson. It'll finish our mill and overlay of that street. And that's 3 blocks, versus the 2.5 we just did. So they quoted us $58,307. So I just ask you to approve their mill and overlay.
Okay, somebody wanna make a motion?
Move to approve Sixth Street Mill and Overlay. To complete it through Walnut to Jackson.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
Included is a quote from Howard Communications. I also sent out, after further discussion with Howard on what this equipment actually does, I asked them for a revised quote. And the reason being, the initial quote included a point-to-point internet system that gets me from one tower to the other. He had advertised to me the possibilities of not just doing that connection, but actually maybe creating a network around town for at least the city to use, or even further than that. And because with this point-to-point, we're buying a frequency. It's our frequency, it's dedicated to us. We can use it for internet, we can use it for transmission and stuff like that, and other things that he didn't quite get into, but gave me a brochure about. I think we take advantage of this. In the initial quote, it was just a single point to a single point. The additional quote that I have put on your desk is, includes a multi-point to point. It would allow us to use that single spot on the tower for multiple locations if we so choose. Including, one of the things was maybe if we got an underserved portion of our community, as far as internet service. Oh, shoot. Okay, I can pull that up. I printed out the wrong one. Thank you for pointing that out.
Sorry.
It's
all right.
But that's the reason why I sent it out to you guys in advance, so you guys could have the right one. Let me pull this up.
Do we have any complaints
You have
about
that one
any
they sent
parts
you
of
Friday?
town?
Well, I'm not specifically, yes, I mean, for our own,
Little
Yeah,
higher.
it's $2,000 higher times two.
Times two, so $4,000 higher.
Could we use it at the pool, Austin?
no, it'd be $2,000 higher. Yes.
I think so.
I'll get to that.
Okay.
It's
That
not
would be a
times two.
positive in our world.
It's the, it's just,
Oh.
it's not times two, it's,
Okay.
It's
Total amount, is that not right?
Kevin,
Okay.
here,
What's the bottom line?
I'll get you.
$14,061
Ooh.
for both of them.
Okay.
That's a grand total.
14,061, okay.
So 14,000, it just added a couple $1,000s to one spot since there was a, just that point, one on the one tower. And basically, I mean, me and Jason had discussed this, we could get, right now, nobody wants to serve the pool except for AT&T, and AT&T's a hassle.
Oh, yeah.
We turn it off, every year, they charge us at one point, yeah, they charge us to turn it back.
off, they charge us to turn it on.
So we can set this up with a point at the pool and get internet from the tower to the pool and not have to worry about it. It's our own internet, not our own internet, but Blue Valley's internet will be hooked into there and we get it over there. For that, we can hook it up, at the airport right now. Our phone service at the airport is a little hotspot, the same with the pool, from Verizon. That's how we get phone out there. Saved us money when we switched over to it, but it's not exactly ideal. We can reduce bills that way too. If we wanted to do free Wi-Fi at the ballpark, we can do that. City Park, we can do that. Downtown.
How much bandwidth is that? I mean, how easy to overwhelm is it gonna be
The-
if we did something like that?
And that's a little bit more in-depth, but it just offers it as an option. I know we got fiber going to the tower,
Yeah,
so that bandwidth is good. Now, am I saying we put free Wi-Fi all over town right now? Probably not, but I want the option to be out there that at least we can serve our departments.
so who would be the network administrator, you?
That'd be us, yeah.
It'd be great if we could just get the pool on.
The pool's, I mean, that would be a big win in itself, if we could just, if that was a 1 point,
Yeah.
it'd save us money in the long run,
Oh, yeah.
even purchasing this.
Can we get by with one antenna instead of two?
No.
No, because the one antenna will be dedicated to the water meters.
Okay.
Neptune.
No, yeah, yes.
Is there an attachment of a monthly fee?
No. We buy the equipment, the internet that we would pay for already for the water meters would also be, I mean, that, we were already gonna pay for that. It would be we'd pay for the internet, we'd pay the one-time fee of buying the band, the 4.8, band.
That's in the 1461.
Yes,
right,
that's in the
okay.
14. And then, any place we need to put something, I think it's like $475 to put the point, around that time. I think that's the point itself. but,
You'll pay for that in a year, I mean,
Yeah.
of your internet fees, basically.
What is this internet fee? How much?
it depends on what bandwidth you pick. I mean, just like your internet, your internet at home, that's what it costs.
We're talking like is this gonna be a small amount?
Yeah, I mean, I pay $80 a month.
It'd be similar
at home.
to that.
Yeah.
It's not like we're gonna pay like everything else we're paying, all this upgrade all the time on these internet deals.
No, we just pay Blue Valley what their bill is.
All right.
So what do we pay at the pool currently?
Trying to think, it's 80 a month when it's turned on, but it costs me $100 to turn it on. And then I have to send back the router, they have to bring me a router, I have to send the router back, they charge me $500, then they send it back.
That.
Yeah.
It costs time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Just buy a router.
You can't buy the router that AT&T uses.
No.
And there's no other internet service at the pool.
yeah, Blue Valley is so close, but not close enough. Which is who we have the rest of our internet with. They don't serve that, yeah, it's craziness, they don't serve that spot,
Oh, really?
no.
Well, can we get a final bill before next time's meeting?
Oh,
or-
this is the final bill right
It's in
here.
your email.
It was in your email, I sent it out on
Got
Friday.
it up right behind you.
I got it up right here.
Yeah.
Here's the final bill, $14,061.
Yep.
$6,043 for one tower, $8,018 for the other tower. And all that changed was the multi-point spot that is right here.
Oh, I can't see it from this far, so whatever. I'll get it at home then when I get home.
So, yeah, I think even if we don't do anything this year, I think it's a plan ahead rather than purchasing a point-to-point and then going, oh, we could really use that later.
Yep.
Let's get somebody up there again to put another thing up.
Yep.
So, I'd ask that you approve the second, quote that I sent out.
I make a motion to approve the $14,061 to Howard Communications for the multi-point internet and for the Neptune system.
Okay.
I second. I
What are you gonna say?
She seconded.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? 8-0. Okay.
All right, the last thing on my list is, the Kansas Rural Preservation Grant. I included, their instruction sheet. I couldn't really print out the grant. It's all, they got online forms and it would have been just a mess. But I'm just asking that, you approve me to at least apply for this Kansas Preservation Grant. Basically what it does, they give out a grant. These are small projects, they're looking for. I mean, the most they'll give out for a grant is $50,000. And what I've seen that they really need, that this would cover, would be replacement of the roof, covering, above our apartment, which is on 909 to 911, Broadway. And then the, bay windows that hang over the Kester, house, gardens, which are in disrepair. I think I've sent out pictures of those previously, but, the roof itself is not leaking right now, but we've patched it. We've fixed the ceiling on the inside, but we had to wait to figure out, and going through a freeze and thaw, to whether we should replace the ceiling, because we patched it, didn't work, patched it again, and finally got it all patched up. I can't find the record of when we replaced it last. We did replace the other side not too long ago, within 10 years.
Yeah, within 10.
Within 10 years. So that portion of the roof is not in need of it, but this one, the guy from Eaton Roofing came in and rolled an epoxy over the holes and made sure it was all patched up to make sure we could fix the inside as well. So that's a need. The bay windows, it looks like one of them has animals living inside of it at the base. And I think if we can get those two fixed up, I'm estimating about $40,000 for the project. So in this grant pays for 90% of that. The grant covers walls, ceilings, any physical attributes. I was hoping they would do HVAC, but they don't. But this would do the roof and these bay windows.
I see the deadline's what, March 1st?
Yes. And I've been working on this.
I was gonna ask.
I have been working on this. It's not like I'm not prepared for it. I just wanted your guys' okay to dedicate funds towards this.
I was trying to figure out where it was because it says 209 to 211 Broadway.
Yeah,
And I kept
in your
thinking,
words.
In my
Doing
words.
it now.
Yeah,
You
it's
don't have
909, yeah.
we don't have anything down
Okay.
there.
All right. 909 to 911. I could have swore I typed that, but so that it's
You just want us to approve you going forward with the
applying for
application?
this. Yes.
Well, I move that we ask, approve Austin to proceed with applying for the Kansas Rural Preservation Grant.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0.
Well, I'd just say, we talked about this previously. BG submitted or Nathaniel from BG submitted a memo, more detailed over the lagoons. I will point out that the seepage rate on the second line, it should be 0.25, which is the difference on what kind of liner that they're asking us to put in if we do the wetlands. But if you'd read through that, if you have any questions, please forward them to me. But he's still working on it, still working with KDHE to make sure our project is walking its way forward. That's all I had for that.
All right, well, I suppose we probably ought to move back to the hearing. He hasn't shown up yet, but it's about 7:30. Well,
Hello. Well, Can you get to the pictures that you got up on your screens right now, real quick?
Let me make a couple opening comments. The property owner had actual notice that, and I'll lean forward here, I'll get closer. The property owner had actual notice. He was served with notice of this hearing today. He also acknowledged to me 2 days ago that he had actual notice, and he thought he'd be here today to ask for more time to, his request was kind of ambiguous, either repair or remove the miscellaneous stored materials about the property, inside the property. One thing to bear in mind, with property owners, they bear the ultimate responsibility for taking care of their property. That's no question. But there comes a point in time where the city can use statutory powers to order the abatement of any unsafe conditions. And that's what we're proposing tonight, that the court or the council take that action to abate the unsafe conditions. Now, I would like to have Mr. Ralph give a brief introduction of himself and his qualifications, and then we'll go through the photographs.
On here, looking at the pictures, I got, the back porch. When you go underneath there, this is all opened up.
And Ms. Earl, if you could look behind you too, there's, if that's
Yeah.
easier to see right there, it's also behind her.
Yeah. But, this section has been excavated out, and the porch is actually just hanging there right now. You can go all the way underneath to the basement there. In the picture below it is all the dirt that's been thrown up out from underneath there. Cats were down in there when I was there, which is not a good thing to be having. Next to the pictures.
This
Okay,
shows
yep,
the foundation?
that'd be the foundation on that back corner. The porch is just behind there. You see how it's, peeling off there. It's a limestone foundation there. You can see inside from there at that point. And then the peeling paint in the front. That's just off the front porch. Okay. That window up top there is the window that I have seen him personally putting, stuff from the yard into the attics there. I don't know how full it is up there. I haven't been able to get up there. The other window on the top there is the window. I have the picture. You see the bass drum sitting just inside the window. That's all the farther in you can see through the window.
That one window, is it wide open? Is it secured?
It wasn't at the time. It now has a piece of glass in it.
Okay.
So he has fixed that window to where you can, there's glass in it now. So, okay. That is the yard to the east of his house, and it's just full of stuff. You can't even get up to there. If you look there, the electrical meter does not have a meter in it, so there's definitely not any electrical there. That bass drum, that's that window that you were looking at before. That's just inside the window. You cannot get any farther than right there. There's that much stuff piled in there. The window to the bottom there is the basement. You can see down in there where he's got stuff slid in to that window too. This one was, I just found it kind of funny that I found a fire extinguisher on a post in the backyard. So that's why I took that picture there. The bottom picture there though is the cistern to the west of the house, and got to look at it. He's got buckets tied to a rope to lower down in the cistern there to get water out.
Is there water service to the structure itself?
There is not.
Do you even allow cisterns in town?
I tried to look it up and I couldn't find anything.
What?
I had a house that was about half a block from there, and we had a cistern, but we just filled it in.
Right, but,
All of them I know
My
of that I've
neighbor
ran
filled
into have
theirs
been
in.
filled in, but
but there's nothing that, what I'm saying,
There's no
there's no
regulation.
ordinances or anything that says you can't have.
Unless it was named something else, I couldn't find anything called a cistern in our ordinances.
Is it covered with anything that's permanent?
It just has a screen from a screen window laying over it right there.
So somebody could fall in, right?
Someone could fall in that very easy. It's not safe. This is the backyard. The top picture is looking from the alley. You can see the back porch that we were talking about earlier with no support underneath it. It's piled full of stuff over top of it there. And the other picture there is the garage. It's got siding missing on it. And just has stuff piled all around it too. That would be all of them. Okay. And then in your pamphlets is a inspection checklist, I believe.
Now, how long you been the city code enforcement officer?
I've been since May of 2020.
And you have a background in construction?
Yes.
And in your opinion, is this property habitable?
No, it is not.
Does it pose a blight to the neighborhood?
Yes.
Now, you're familiar with this property before the city took this action, correct?
Yes, I was involved in the court cases through it. As soon as I started here, there was already ongoing court cases going, and we had to. He still didn't clean it up at that point. He'd work on it. He'd do just a little bit, and then stop, and then he'd do a little bit more and stop, and they just kept on continuing it.
And the last proceedings, his probation was revoked because he wouldn't clean up the mess.
Correct.
Are you familiar that the taxes are delinquent through 2014 to 2020?
Yes,
And I believe that's over $10,000.
it is.
Now, that amount includes some of the special assessments the city put on when they tried to clean up the property. Is that correct, Madam Clerk?
That is correct.
How
That is
much
correct.
is taxes?
$6,700 is what we charged him for in the 2 year, we've cleaned it up twice.
In 19 and in 17, we cleaned it up, those 2 years.
Well, we actually was 17 and 18, but it was 19 by the time it got on the taxes.
Okay,
That
well,
is
like I
correct.
said, they're showing 19 on the
Right,
paper.
absolutely.
So it's a total of what, 12,000?
And half of it's ours.
Half of it's ours,
Yeah.
cleaning it up.
To give it an estimate of the annual tax,
Just the taxes.
the ad valorem tax would be about $500 a year.
About half of that, so
The reason I
six
asked
grand.
about taxes is, how's it appraised right now?
It's in the packet, where's that?
It's appraised by the county appraiser, and remember, it's a mass appraisal technique. It's never been challenged. He has about $25,000 on the property. Now, you took pictures, and the house is pretty well stuffed with stuff throughout, isn't it?
Yes, I've been taking pictures, all along here for court each time, and it'll show a little bit of progress, and then before the next court, he's went the other direction, there's more stuff there again. And then,
Presently, it's probably the worst condition.
yes,
Okay. Now, with all this stuff in the house and outside the house, does that pose a fire hazard?
it does.
And where is this property located out?
It's, 1205 Carolina.
Are there houses surrounding it?
Yes, there's one, east and west,
And so this is a residential neighborhood, is that correct?
correct.
Earlier today, I talked to the clerk about drafting a resolution. It would have to be revised because the property owner's not here tonight, and so we need to be accurate on that. It's a guess what I put into the resolution. I won't know for sure until there's a hearing. Now that I have a hearing, I'll be able to revise it. The city will be requesting that you authorize the mayor to sign appropriate resolution to condemn the property and abate the public nuisance conditions, or abate the unsafe conditions. And Mr. Rouse here to address any questions. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we condemn this, gotta be taken out. Whose property is it when this is over?
At that point, it's still Walter's. It is Walter's property still. We're just doing the cleaning up of it at that point and taking the building down.
Now, the council controls the timing of the actual demolition. He has 60 days, if the resolution's passed, to take it down. And even after it's taken down, the city would have two options. Option one, to put it on the tax rolls and try to collect it to a tax sale, most likely. Or two, sue him civilly and try to collect it. Those options are not exclusive. You can use either one to try to collect these costs and fees. But you're absolutely correct. It is a budgetary issue. The city's cognizant of that. And so the timing would be something that the council would control. Probably we're going to take bids on the demo, or I think we have some estimates. If I recall right, it's maybe the city administrator could remind me, 30,000 to take it down? 25,000?
I don't
Or less?
have, I don't think I have that one.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, what are council's thoughts? What are your thoughts, Terry?
Well, if we're gonna do all this and we're gonna spend the money to do it, when it's over, is he gonna walk in the door then want this money back from the city because he's got a lot there that's?
No, I mean, if he does not tear it down within 60 days, then if we go out for bid and tear it down, then we will put that against his property taxes like we already have.
Yep.
Which realistically, will we get that back?
No.
Probably not.
We didn't on the
But-
others either,
Our other option is to keep going in there and cleaning it out every year and having everything show back up again and keep doing it over and over and over again.
Well, considering we've spent $6,699
Yeah.
twice, well, for 2 cleanups on it, and it's in worse shape now than it was either one of those times. I'm not for going in and cleaning it up. I mean, I know it needs to get cleaned up, but, and I know him, and I know he doesn't have the money to do it, so.
It needs to be gone.
It needs to be
all of it
gone,
needs to
but
be
I don't wanna get stuck with a,
It needs to be gone, and then the county needs to sure
yeah, but
sell
here,
the property.
you're gonna put another 30,000 in, you're gonna be at 37,000, you know? We won't ever get that back on a
We won't.
tax sale.
It won't.
Is there a lien on it?
I have no idea.
No.
I don't think,
Not that
I
I know
thought
of.
it said not,
Yeah,
didn't
he
it?
paid, what, $1 for it, I think is what it should
Well,
be.
Well,
because it was
it's a
quick
quick
claim.
claim.
Quick
That's
claim,
what they
so,
But he owns it free and clear from what I
Yeah.
could see.
I did a report in the materials on that, I did a search, I don't recall I found any mortgages. So, there's no mortgage liens if they're asking that. The only lien would be the county tax lien.
I guess my concern is, what if a kid gets trapped in there?
Yeah.
I mean, with an open porch underneath there, there's kids that live around there, there's kids that walk back and forth to St. Gregory's.
Yeah, the schools and,
And there's no insurance on it?
no.
I would doubt it.
And
I think anybody would probably insure that.
Yeah, nobody would insure it.
And I'm not gonna lie, I can't even imagine what'll happen if it catches on fire.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll lose more than one house.
To be honest, I don't think it's gonna be $30,000. It's,
You're right,
that's for some of the buildings, businesses
you're
that
right,
we've
I
looked
bet you it's
at.
gonna be more.
You think it's gonna be more?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there
A lot of
trying to
stuff in
sort.
that
I'm the guy telling you here that you probably
Structure's
got
not-
30 yards of trash
Okay.
at $45 a ton. Then you got the building at $25 a ton. And you go back to a couple of them pictures, you know, some of it that scares me too is, I really hope there's not any hazardous waste in there. Like the oil drum I saw. I hope it's not full.
Hope not.
And you're gonna have to, that's the problem with tearing down, they're gonna have to sort it. This isn't come in, knock the house down, load it out in 2 days and be done.
Right.
No.
This is come in and clean the trash out for a week.
Which, some of it's metal, so,
If
some of
they
it's
sort
iron.
it
Yeah, if it
and it
gets
goes,
sorted.
they can get a little money back. If they
Yeah.
don't sort it and it goes
Yeah,
to
then
the
we're
transfer
paying-
station,
to get rid of it all. Yep.
yeah.
This condemnation doesn't tie us to knocking it down, does it?
It gives you authority to do so. You ultimately decide when to pull the trigger and when not to pull the trigger.
Okay.
Even if you pass the ordinance, say 60 days, you don't have to do it in the 60th day, you're not required. But obviously, it represents kind of a safety issue that you have to be aware of.
Right.
Will, can we go up there and remove that screen and shut that metal cistern lid?
If it's legal for me to go and do it.
On his property.
That's not, it's on someone else's property.
Yeah, it's on-
I don't think I can go and do that. That's why I didn't do it that day.
That just bothers me with just a screen on
know.
that and
I agree.
and a hole underneath of it. I mean, it just,
And there's a makeshift fence around the place too, isn't there?
Yes,
Yeah.
there is.
So it's even, he's kind of set a line that you can't really cross.
yeah.
But I'm in total agreement with you, Kevin. I mean, I'm not impressed with that at all.
You know, a dog or anything
Oh.
running across that screen would fall right through it too. I mean, not, let alone a kid. I mean,
Just get a little snow cover on it and you wouldn't even know
you
it's
wouldn't know
open.
it's there.
Oh.
Exactly, yeah,
Yeah, a little kid would investigate, you know, pick up the screen, look down at it.
yeah.
Yeah. And there's,
The only thing I could say is
No
we
way of getting
shoot
them
him a
back.
letter that needs to be, the screen needs to be
He
off and
knows.
the,
I
He's
don't
already
think,
got the picture. He knows, Kevin.
I don't think the letter's the answer
It's not gonna
anymore.
do any good. He's
I-
already got it.
I think,
Probably doesn't get any mail.
We took it to him. He has these.
it's been hand delivered to him.
Yeah,
He's
we
got
hand
it.
delivered.
He knows.
and that's the other
He
problem I have with
refused to
this.
do anything.
Well, he didn't even show up here after saying he was going to be here.
Right, so if,
So we know how much he cares. He doesn't.
and we spent a whole last year taking him through court.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is he,
So
does
that was
he,
a lot of time and money.
yeah. Do
I
you
went to
know, does
court
he
one
have
night
his
when he was
court
there.
costs and his court fines
And he showed up
paid, or
late
is
for
he
that,
delinquent
too.
on them?
I believe he's delinquent on everything. But one thing with the city court, their jurisdiction is limited. The city judge has no jurisdiction to authorize the expenditure of city money to clean it up.
Right, no, I'm just
I have a
seeing
question.
how delinquent he is.
If we get that property, we take it through all the steps, we condemn it, we do everything. As a city, can we get bids from people to go in there? If they wanna go and take it to the transfer station, if they want to sign a
If
contract.
they wanna bid on it.
Yeah, they can bid on it.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
I mean,
can bid on
I
it.
don't know if
I
that
think
opens us
that's
to any-
a little bit to get it back.
I don't
You
know
know,
if
we're
that-
not completely losing
times.
it.
Would that
Or
open
get
us up to
somebody-
any liability or anything
Well,
if
if
we
you-
have
if-
people going on the property cleaning stuff out or not?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
You're trying to salvage the materials to lower the cost. Of course, if anybody gets hurt, I mean, it's like anything else.
Well, most people
there-
that do that understand what they're going into, but I'm just saying, instead of us having to, it's gonna be bad enough, we have enough in this financially. My point is, and I know there are people around here that will go through everything, and you could probably talk them, or they'll go get money, if they gather it up and take it off, and, you know, they just have to sign a contract that they're not gonna take it and dump it out in the country, that they're gonna take it out and take it to the proper place. And, you know, if they're gonna come to us, we don't have to accept whoever the first person is. If we feel they're shady, if we feel they're not gonna do the right thing. I'm just saying, that way it saves us some time and trouble. But, you know, it's just a suggestion.
It could. At the same time, if we do it ourselves, then we know where it's gonna end up. It's gonna end up gone
Yeah.
compared to
Well, if
end
he's
up
still,
in somebody else's yard again. Yeah, Terry?
he's still got the property, what's to keep him from stocking it full of junk again,
Well,
just the property?
we would
Nothing.
need
There
probably
would be no
to,
building to put it in.
well, but I could see him just filling it back up on an
Yeah.
empty lot, honestly.
Yep.
Like he's
That-
done the last 2 times.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, after we-
half of it's outside right now. It's not like he's worried about it walking away, evidently.
If we do the condemnation, and so so is it the city's then, after we, it'll never be ours?
It's always his land.
Yeah, we would have to buy it from him.
Ew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Ruff had a good point here. You can have somebody take the materials off and you're paying them basically to keep the materials in lieu of being paid cash to remove it. So you just can't take somebody's property, you have to,
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering,
So,
if we
but-
had gone through it, would the city get the property? And that would be the only way we could do it.
well, you could dispose of materials and try to salvage it and get some costs in some fashion. But at the end of the day, the real estate will still be his, but it'll be on the tax
Yeah.
rolls.
Yeah. Okay.
We would get some money for it, probably.
So, what's council's thoughts?
It's not safe the way it is.
And the neighbors up there have been complaining
Oh, yeah.
for years. Not just across the street, I mean, everybody
around.
around the
It needs to
whole,
go.
the whole area up there.
I agree.
And if you let this one slide, then the next one will start, and the next one,
Yeah.
and the next one.
Exactly.
I just don't wanna spend the money on the property to get it all cleaned up and then,
Unless it goes to sheriff's auction, the way the taxes work, whoever purchases it has to pay the taxes that are on the roll. So in other words, if he would sell it to you, you have to pay whatever back taxes there are.
Right.
If it goes to sheriff's auction,
If it goes to sheriff's
not true.
auction, it's the highest bidder.
Absolutely.
Which would probably not be, maybe, let's say it's $1,000 and you got 12 invested, you lose.
right, then we lose. But if he would sell it personally to somebody, they do have to pay the back taxes.
Another thing to look at, if the neighbors wanna sell their property, they ain't gonna sell it because what this place looks like.
exactly. It's one of those catch-22s, cause you spend the money to clean it up, you put it in the tax roll, and then we eat it. Or the community eats it on taxes, you know, and we know he's not cleaning it up.
how does he get all the material there in the first place?
He carries it.
Well,
It's
it's
there,
every
posts
night.
it there.
And it is,
Yeah.
it is everybody's trash.
Anybody's yard.
Sitting
He
by the
was
trash
carrying-
can, it's,
He was carrying bricks, that stack of bricks he's got up front, he was carrying them about 12 blocks, 4 bricks at a shot.
Oh, jeez.
Put them in a little backpack, you put them on his back, carry them down, take them out and stack them.
yeah, if he put as much effort in cleaning it up as he did getting it there, wow, it'd look great.
So,
Well, what do you wanna
But it's
do?
gotta go.
I mean, we condemn it, we got 60 days, and then we can decide what we wanna do then.
I think that needs to be done.
Okay, somebody wanna make a motion?
move to condemn the property at 1205 Carolina,
And approve the mayor to sign, right?
and approve the mayor to sign the documents.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? We'll do a roll call on this one.
Okay. It will be 2021-04 will be the resolution number, so you know. Pipia,
Yes.
Fry, Schroller, Hughes,
Yes.
Bikeman,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Barron's,
Yes.
Throm,
Yes,
Ado.
Okay. Well, next up, standing committee reports. We wanna talk about the Kester House first, or you wanna wait?
Okay, yeah, might as well right before, I got a notification, from the security company that watches over Kester House, saying the back door, had an alarm on it. I had, the police department go check it out. Here they walk in, he texted me back and goes, or called me back and goes, there's water in the basement and the pipes are busted. Will goes over there, and maybe I should have Will describe what was going on.
When you say Kester House, you mean
The museum.
the museum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when I went into the museum there, in the kitchen area, there was 5 broken pipes on the boiler system right there. We got to looking around, walked around, every one of the registers in the house has water underneath it, which means they've leaked.
You mean radiators?
Or radiators, sorry, yes. Every one of the radiators there. Go down into the basement, there's 2 3-inch lines for the boiler that are burst.
Oh, boy.
There was 2 just on the water line sides, just water leaks that we had down in there. All in all, there's like 12 places that are broke of water, just water lines or boiler lines
Just so you can see.
that you can see at this point.
Yeah.
That was just from this last frost?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, the good news is it doesn't appear to have really damaged the building. Most all the water went right into the basement. There was a little bit of water that ran across the kitchen. When one of the elbows broke, it broke a glass that was on a shelf above the sink. But it could have been a lot worse because it could have flooded a lot of stuff.
Did the heating system just not keep up with the cold, or?
That would be my guess.
Something broke down.
Yeah, so that was probably the first thing to fail. And and with the saving grace was the heating systems in the basement. It busted a pipe, probably drained all the water back to it, and then everything else just started after that.
Shattering out.
Yep.
But all those cast iron radiators, every single one of them has water underneath it. Not a lot, but it obviously leaked.
Yeah, but once they swell,
Well, that's, yeah.
there's
No going
no
back.
repairing them.
And I don't even know how you'd replace something like that.
Yeah.
Several of them are curved. I mean, I've never seen a curved cast iron radiator, and they're curved in those bay windows.
Yep.
Like I saw one upstairs that didn't have water underneath it, and that was it.
Well, that's probably because all the water was on the first floor by then.
Yeah.
Probably.
So, yeah, that notification came this afternoon, so this is,
Yeah.
Is there a company out there that deals with them?
We're probably gonna find out.
There is one in-
First, we have to get our insurance company involved to see exactly how much they'll cover. They probably cover a lot of it. I mean, and I also have to talk to the Historical Society on how much we're gonna have to put back, whether we can, because the radiators themselves, yes, they leaked out the bottom, but according to Jason and Will, you can't tell unless you really look. If we leave.
I didn't see any, they didn't have holes in the bottom that I saw.
No, I
They
didn't
looked
see any
kinda
holes.
swelled, yeah.
You could just see icicles hanging from the bottom, and then it'd be like just a little pool of water underneath them.
Yeah.
So if we go back and go, okay, leave the radiators there and figure out a different heating system that doesn't involve breaking through walls. Hopefully the Historical Society would like that.
Loud, yeah.
So there are a couple different hoops you have to jump through to figure out where we're going with this.
There was, about 6 years ago, a spot place in Kansas City that repaired the radiators that are in there and did boiler work, but that is kind of right downtown along the river, but I don't know if that place is even there anymore, so.
Is it hot water heat or steam heat?
Well, see, and I've never had to mess with steam at all. Charlie was down there and he thought it was steam, but if that's the case, those pipes shouldn't have broke in half. I mean, either if it is steam, something went drastically wrong and the entire system filled up with water. And maybe that's why, maybe it did do that and that's why it quit working. But there's no way, because the pipes that broke were on the ceiling of the first floor. So if it's steam, there's no way there should have been a water in that pipe full to fill.
Could it have just
Probably
been,
hot water heat.
Well, see, and I was trying to look up online, and that's why I was almost late, trying to kind of look it up, and a lot of them were steam. There was water. It wasn't very common, but that house was not built to common standards.
Right.
He probably would have sprung for the state-of-the-art, fanciest system that there was, and so it could very well be
See, at the
hot
motel,
water.
We have hot water heat, and when we moved there, it had a big old boiler, and
Yeah.
then it cracked, and it drained all the water out of it when we moved there
Yeah.
in 73, and then we have, just a little small one.
Did you have the big cast iron radiators in, or what did you have?
We have radiators,
Okay.
and we still use them, but we just have a little box now.
Yeah.
But when we moved there, it was a big old converted coal furnace,
With a boiler.
yes.
Yeah.
See, at the motel, we had hot water heat, and we
Yeah.
still had the boiler and the radiators in every
Radiators,
room
yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
There's no
Was yours
boiler
were
in
the
this
newer-
place, is there?
What's that?
There is a boiler.
Yes.
There is a boiler?
Boiler down there,
Okay.
and it got partway underwater. I mean, the water got up into the burner and everything, which that should be able to get cleaned out, but, what was the cause? I mean, something broke down, and what it was that caused it.
Does it have pumps?
There was a pump, I think, on the side, wasn't there? And if it was steam, I wouldn't think it would use
yes, there's a pump on the boiler.
Yes,
There
'cause
should be a pump, there should be a high water alarm, a low water alarm.
we
there
had
should
pumps,
be-
because one went one way and one went the other way, but we had pumps, and if those pumps failed,
Yeah,
then,
Mhm.
yeah,
and it could have been that too.
Mhm. You could have a ruptured tube in the boiler too,
yeah.
Could have.
and that jacket could have leaked.
Because there's no way to pressurize it and see where there's chunks of pipe missing right now. And honestly, I don't even know how, other than replacing it all from scratch, the pipe, because I've never tried to take apart 1.5-inch boiler pipe, but I've had to mess with taking apart 1/2-inch and 3/4-inch galvanized pipe that's been together for 100 years. It doesn't come apart very easy. And that's just little 1/2-inch pipe. So I can only imagine trying to get 1.5 inch out of there. You'd have to get 4-foot pipe wrenches, and chances are it would just break. I mean, I don't see how you would salvage it hardly.
When I worked on them down south, we used forklifts and chains
Yeah, that would.
and heated up the unions and
That
pulled them
would
apart
probably
that
be
way.
what you would have to do. It wouldn't come apart easy if it would come apart.
Yeah, and then we got that 3-inch, or those 2 3-inch lines in the basement that are burst too.
Yeah.
Are those cast iron or do you know, Will?
I really don't know.
Some of it's cast irons. Oh, yeah, Terry.
I think we're getting ahead of ourselves talking about this if we don't talk to the insurance company.
And that's what tomorrow, I mean, we
And-
found out about this at like 4 o'clock today.
Yeah, well, let's find out from them and then let's talk about this.
Yes.
I think it would
And from the
shorten our evening.
historical society
Yeah.
about what
Yes.
what we need to do.
Yes.
What we have to put back.
That would be the next steps. There was no, I wanted you guys to be aware of what happened in the museum. And at this point in time, there's no action that you guys need. It's just, what's our insurance gonna cover? Or, I mean, what are they gonna ask us to do? What's the Historical Society gonna ask us to do? And then, we'll see where it goes
Yeah.
from there.
Yep. We'll have to see. So, yep, that's it. Thank you, Will.
Yep. Standing committees.
Yep, standing committees. Anybody have anything on street? Nothing? Water and wastewater? Parks and Rec? Cemetery and airport? Police and fire? Admin and finance? Yes, Terry.
Mr. Mayor, at our December the 14th meeting, there was a motion that was seconded, we voted on it, but there hadn't been any action on it, and that's this container thing John was gonna tell us what he was gonna do. Has that been brought to your attention, John?
The container, help me here, I'm blank.
Talking about the storage containers?
No, I never brought it to his attention, but I wasn't asked to. Yeah, I know it was in the minutes.
Oh, you wanna revisit the storage containers?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I can work something up.
Well, I was wondering because that was 2 months ago, and if we said we were gonna do it, and we haven't done it yet. Well, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. That was the only thing in administration and finance that I wanted to mention, but it'd be kinda nice if we got that taken care of, because there's several people asking about it.
I don't think that's a problem, we'd be glad to draft something up, that's no problem.
All right, council want him to draft something up?
I think it's already been voted,
It
it's
was
already
voted
been
on in
voted.
December, yeah.
Okay.
You just need something to go by.
Yep,
I've done one for Frankfurt, so that's not a big,
And I
big
think
deal.
Austin has one, don't we?
yeah.
That the committee put together.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
A few years back.
That's all I had.
All right. Anything else on admin and finance? Appointments and wage determinations, we don't have anything. You don't have anything for us, do you, John?
I do not.
Okay. Roundtable. Bobby?
Well, we made it through the cold blast. I think the guys did fine, you know, I mean, it wasn't snow, it wasn't sleet, it was just it all together, so, you know. I was pleased, you know, I mean, I live on a kind of a side street and we don't get much there, but like on 12th Street and the main streets and stuff, they did a good job. So, that's all I have to say.
Todd?
Nothing.
Diane?
No.
Terry?
No, I have nothing.
Keith?
No.
Parker?
Nothing tonight.
Colleen? Kevin?
Nothing this evening, sir.
Nothing. I don't have anything either.
Jared?
Yep.
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Veto.
Rio.
No, we have hot water heat too. We like it.
Ours look like, but we always, we
Hot
had
water
a
heat's
cover
honestly the
over it.
best heat there is.
True.
It is.
As long as your boiler doesn't
As long as
quit.
your boiler